Awesome. Thanks so much, other Emily, and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. As Emily just told you, my name is Emily Kurth, and I am the communications specialist here at Realityworks. I am primarily responsible for email marketing and content creation, and that is my very favorite part of my job because it lets me connect with educators across the country to learn how they are succeeding in their classrooms. And that is actually how I met all three of the presenters for today's webinar. And I'm very excited to share their stories with you. So before we get started, let's review what we'll cover over the next 45 minutes or so. We will start with an overview of Realityworks. We'll also do just a quick review of what RealCare Baby is in case there's anyone on today's webinar who's not familiar with this infant simulator. Then we'll get to the good stuff. We'll share tips and tricks from three experienced educators, Trudy Sawada, Cheryl Beckman, and Ashley Edmonds. Now, all three of them were not able to join us live today as they're all in the middle of teaching classes, but they submitted recordings of their tips and tricks, so we'll still get to hear from them firsthand. After the three of them conclude presenting, we'll round out our best practices by sharing some tips from Denise Dubois. She is a longtime product manager here at Realityworks, frequent presenter and blog writer on all things related to facts and health science and human services. And in addition to being an experienced educator in Minnesota and Wisconsin, Denise has over 20 years of education marketing experience and professional development, and she's the co-chair for the Alliance for Family and Consumer Sciences. So she's a wonderful resource for RealCare Baby as well. Last but not least, we'll conclude by sharing some free resources for baby users, a fun new product, and then we'll have time for questions. So with that, let's get started. So who is Realityworks? Well, we are an employee-owned company based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and we create experiential learning tools for teaching job and life skills. We actually got our start over 20 years ago when former NASA engineer Rick Germain created the very first RealCare Baby infant simulator, and then he went on to found the company that's now Realityworks. Today, we're proud that our comprehensive learning solutions combine both that hands-on component with engaging curriculum, student activities, and assessments. And that's really our goal. We strive to create tools that are easy to implement into programs and offer plenty of those resources and customer support. You'll find our solutions in middle schools and high schools and even college classrooms in a wide variety of CTE pathways, from health and human services and facts to trade skills and agriculture. In fact, to date, our simulators are in more than 70% of US school districts and programs and in more than 90 countries. Baby, of course, is still around. We're really excited about that. But now we can also help out educators who are searching for tools like a bovine birthing and ultrasound simulator, an ECG simulator, hydroponics, and more. So let's talk more about our flagship product, RealCare Baby. What is RealCare Baby? Well, RealCare Baby is designed to be a comprehensive learning experience. The program includes the simulator, of course, which uses wireless technology to track and report on a variety of caregiver behaviors like feeding, diaper changing, bottle feeding, etc., as well as actions like shaking and even time in a car seat. Now, Baby is comprehensive because it's actually packed with curriculum. It includes lesson plans, activities, and assessments, specifically 4 sets of curricula. Anyone who purchases RealCare Baby gets access to all 4 curricula. Basic infant care is the curriculum that's focused on childcare careers. Healthy Choices focuses on pregnancy prevention and sex education. The parenting curriculum focuses, of course, on parenting and child development. And then we also offer a curriculum called Life Skills and Healthy Choices, which is focused on more of a middle school level sex education experience. Now, the cool part about RealCare Baby is that you get all 4 whenever you purchase Baby. So you can actually pick and choose lessons from all 4 curriculum, or you can focus on one curriculum, whatever you need to help meet your program's specific goals. And of course, what makes Baby so unique is that underneath the simulator's baby powder scented skin, it really does smell like baby powder, is technology designed to add value to those lessons. So students experience true to life infant caregiver experiences thanks to several key technological advancements. Thanks to that wireless technology I just mentioned, Baby can track those care events, abuse, surrounding temperatures, and time in a car seat. You as a teacher can use that wireless us technology to customize simulation schedules using 15 options that we based on real infants. You're able to program up to 100 babies up to 7 days in advance. You can easily check baby's battery status, receive and print assessment reports, etc. Now that's all I'm going to dive into regarding baby for today. But if anyone out there or on the webinar is curious to learn more, I highly encourage you to check out the URL on your screen. That will lead you to our RealCare Baby implementation page, which is chock full of other details, information like case studies and other resources you can use to learn more about this simulator. So with that, let's get to the good stuff. Let's meet our panelists. So again, we asked our panelists for the tips and the best practices that they would share with other baby users. We wanted to know what they've learned over the years that they felt could have the biggest benefit for others. Here is what they told us. So we'll kick things off by hearing from Trudy Sawada. She is a fact teacher from Minnesota who's used Baby for 12 years. I met her just a year or two ago when I was writing a blog series on using RealCare Baby in a pandemic and how teachers were handling, some of the safety concerns and health concerns. It's linked to on your screen, so I highly encourage everyone to learn more about Trudy's program by checking out that blog when you've got some time later on today or later in the week. For now, let's hear what Trudy told us about tips and tricks that she's used in her program.
I use RealCare Babies in my Child Development 1 classes at Sauk Rapids Rice High School. I typically have 3 sections each year with around 30 students in each section. It's a very popular class with our students. I think they like the experience, and I think they like the knowledge that they gain as it's useful and practical experience for them. I try to be very organized with the babies. We have 10 babies and they're stored in 2 of the Realityworks cases. They're charging cases. They're easy to store. They're easy to access the babies when the students need to. I also have a plastic shoebox for each baby that's labeled with a number. The babies all have names. The students are allowed to change the names if they choose to. We keep the sensors and the extra clothing, anything that the student will take home for a weekend experience is in that shoebox. And the babies, I've numbered them as well, so the number corresponds with their supply box. I send a letter to parents before the experience explaining what it is and expectations for the student and for the parents during the experience. Parent permission is part of that letter, and students sign their agreement as part of that as well. When students have those permission slips returned to me, they're allowed to choose their weekend and sign up for the baby that they would like to care for the weekend. As they sign up, they know that the experience starts at 4 p.m. on Friday and finishes at 10 p.m. on Sunday. If they have a special situation, maybe they have a sports practice on Friday afternoon and it would be inconvenient to start at 4, I'm flexible in that I start the babies later for them, but they must submit a special request to me in paper. So I have that to keep on file. And then when I program the babies, I have that in my hand. So I don't have to keep all of those things in my mind or sticky notes or whatever. I just created a system for that. When students take the babies home, I have a printed list of the supplies that they take and an emergency contact number should they have an emergency or a situation that they don't know how to handle. I let them know that it's okay to call me or text me, whichever they prefer for communication. And I do tell them that if it's after 10 p.m., they might not get a reply until morning. I think that's realistic for them. And sometimes they have to struggle through some things after 10 p.m. if I don't respond to their text or their call. We spend a significant amount of time in class practicing with the babies before they take them home. I devote probably 3, maybe 5 class periods to just practicing with the babies. I do a demonstration to show all of the cares and how to respond to the cares for the baby, and then they have time to practice. Usually it's with a partner because we have 10 babies. Sometimes we have groups of 3, or maybe we'll do a split classroom. Half of the class will be working on an assignment and then the other half will be working on practicing with the babies. They usually really like the practice time, and sometimes they just want to hold the babies even after we've had our practice and they start taking them. They'll say, "Can I just hold a baby during class today?" And I don't have a problem with that. I think it's good for them to have that interest in the babies, and they usually do a really good job of that. They don't get too distracted by the babies while we're doing other work. I think it's really important to involve parents. As I mentioned with the parent letter that they receive, the parents are given some expectations. And then after the student has the experience, they do a reflection. And then I also ask the parents to do a short reflection, reflecting on what they observed in their student during the experience, what they think their student might have learned, and how valuable they think it was. And I almost always get positive feedback about that. Occasionally, I have a parent that says they don't think it was very valuable because it's just a doll. Well, I try to promote in my students or encourage them to think of it as a baby. It's not just a doll, it's a baby, and they're taking care of it as a real baby. I hope my suggestions are beneficial to you, and I hope you have a good experience with the RealCare Babies. I really enjoy using them in my classes, and I hope you do too.
Okay, well, that was fun. Next, we'll hear from Ashley Edmonds. Ashley Edmonds, if any of you joined our webinar just a few minutes early, you may have seen her in the video we were playing. Ashley is an educator, a parenting and child development teacher at Jack Britt High School in North Carolina, and she has been using RealCare Baby for 7 years. Ashley, again, is an educator that I've worked with previously, specifically when we were creating a really fun video to celebrate RealCare Baby's 25th birthday last year. So that video was linked on your screen if you want to learn more about Ashley's program and read that, or excuse me, watch that video in general. Highly encourage you to do so. It's pretty fun. In the meantime, let's hear what Ashley has to say regarding her tips and tricks.
Okay, so traditionally I would have them take baby home for a weekend. So they would get their baby in their class period on Friday. They would carry their baby to all their other classes. So for instance, if I had a student in first period, we have 4 class periods in our day. So if a student was in first period, they'd have to carry it to second, third, and fourth. So the fourth period kids are always like, yeah, nope. So they'll get it on Friday in fourth period. And then Monday, when they return babies, they have to carry it to their first, their second, their third, and then they can return baby to me fourth period. So I feel like if they just get the babies on a Friday afternoon, take it home for the weekend. I also incorporate where they have to go out in public and they have to tell me about people's reactions. So that kind of helps those kids that are like, oh, I'll just get the baby on Friday. I'll stay in the house all weekend, and then I'll just return baby on Monday. So I like to give it out during their class period and make them carry it for that duration, because now they're getting those reactions. Now they're getting that uncomfortable feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm a teen parent. Like, people are looking at me crazy, So to give them that extra little, like, you can wait, y'all, you can wait. I have them do a log where they have to go, like they physically have to go out to the store with their baby, price things. They have to take pictures while they're out and about. They have to kind of like get feedback from strangers on like what they think and like their reactions and all of that. So it kind of makes it more real. It's not just like, oh, like you said, like it's just a doll that, oh, that's cute, I'll just dress this doll up, take a few pictures at my house, and I'm done. No, this might be your day-to-day life. So how did that feel? How did people react to you? What would you have done differently to not get in that situation? Making sure to have an open communication with your students. And so we'll sit down, I'll print out their report. We'll sit down and we'll talk about it. Like, hey, I see you missed a feeding here. Oh my gosh, yes, that's when I was in the shower and I could not get dry fast enough. And it was just crazy. And I was like, oh, I know I missed it. So yeah, at that time, that's what happened. I have had moments where students and I can go a little deeper and talk like that too. Yeah. Like, well, okay, so baby's crying, baby's hungry. I know you're in the shower, but they still need you. So like, what could we have done differently? You know, and then they'll expand, and because they always love to talk about their experience when they come back. They're like, I'm so tired. Why'd you do this to me? You know, well, let's talk about it. Well, what happened? Well, what went wrong? What went right? You know, yeah.
Awesome. That was Ashley Edmonds. And now we'll move on to Cheryl Beckman. Cheryl is a FACS educator at Green Valley High School in Missouri. She has actually been using RealCare Baby for almost 20 years. Cheryl is an educator that I met when writing the same blog series that I was writing when we met Trudy, how educators were using RealCare Baby in the pandemic. She is definitely a seasoned educator and had a whole lot to share about her program and the ways that she adapted it both during the pandemic and in general. So again, I highly recommend that when you have some time, hop onto our website and check out the blog about Cheryl's program as well. It's really quite enlightening. In the meantime, she also had some awesome tips and tricks to share with us. So let's hear from Cheryl.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Beckman, and I am a teacher with Green Valley High School in Green Valley, Missouri. I've been here, I'm in my 16th year here, and I've been working with Realityworks babies for 19 years, and I love the program. So a couple of things in doing it so long, I use a lot of the forms from Realityworks. So I use their reflection form, and then I add some of my own questions to it. That's part of the student's grade, is they have to answer that reflection at the end of the process. I do things a little differently. I don't want it to be a gimmick. I want them to realize that having a baby in their life is going to be intense work. It's best when you're older and a little more mature. It's best when you have a partner and you both want to have this little person in your life. And so being a single teenage parent is a challenge, and I want them to know that. But I also give them my personal cell phone number so that they can reach out to me if they have any concerns. My students pick up their, and I have high school students, sorry. My students pick up their babies after school on Tuesday, and then they take care of their babies until Monday morning before school. So that means that they get to experience it on a school week where there's ball games or sporting events, on the weekend when they usually sleep in. I put my babies into daycare mode during the school day. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, when my students have their babies, all they have to do during the school day is protect their babies, carry them around with them and protect them, but they don't interrupt or disturb the other teachers. As far as how they are graded, I change on the report, the computer report. I changed the head support to 1%, and I also moved the wrong position to 1%, and I leave the shaken and rough handling at 5%. Also, if a student has more than 2 rough handlings or shaken incidences, they then appear before a panel of teachers, and we have it set up as though it's a mock Division of Family Services. So they have to go in and explain to these teachers why they harmed the baby. I use the contract from Realityworks that says that I'm going to treat this infant simulator as a real live baby. So that's what I expect of them. As far as the grade goes, I just set it up on percentage. We are a standards-based grading school, so it is what you show me that you can do. So I check in, and they bring the babies in with them every day, and I check to see how things are going with them. It's just one learning target. It's not their entire semester grade, even though it is a big project. I think that this program is pretty successful because I do get communication from parents, I get communication from students, and then of course, past students who are now, you know, in their late 20s, early 30s, married to the love of their life, and are now having their own babies. They reach out and they're like, that robot was so much harder than a real baby. And it's like, hold up now. Is it really? Because you have somebody to share the responsibilities with. You love this child, and you're at a point in your life where you chose to be a parent because you knew that that was going to be one of the best things for your relationship. You're a lot different when you're 25 or 26 than when you're 15 or 16. So I think that the program is challenging for the students. I think it makes them become problem solvers, and I'm gung-ho for it. My school district supports it, my administrators support it, and I think it's the greatest thing.
Oh, now you can hear me. All right. Well, that was Cheryl Beckman. Next, we will move on to Denise Dubois. So now Denise, again, is the product manager here at Realityworks, and she's also the co-chair of the Alliance for Family and Consumer Sciences. Denise has been assisting with the development and evolution of RealCare Baby here at Realityworks for over a decade. And in doing so, has spoken to hundreds of educators and administrators, and has actually traveled as far as Tanzania to train teachers on using RealCare Baby. Denise has some fabulous tips for users, from engaging students to utilizing the curriculum. So let's hear what Denise had to tell us.
Hi, I'm Denise Dubois, and I'm the RealityWorks RealCare product manager, and I've got some best practices for using Baby that I'd like to share with you today. So number one, if you've not gone through the RealCare simulation yourself, we urge you to do it yourself so that you can better understand what you're asking of students and what they are going through. So if you have a free weekend or a free evening, go ahead and program a simulation for yourself and give it a try. I think you will find it very, very surprising, especially if you're new to the program. Another thing we like to encourage, if you're not going to use your babies right away in a semester or a quarter or your class, do get them out, have them on display. And we find that by having them out and having students see them, it really builds the excitement and the anticipation. They can't wait to do the baby project. You can also have them out because you can use your students as assistants to get them ready for deployment and take inventory, making sure everything's clean and inventoried and ready to go. Another thing to be aware of in the curriculum, there are some forms that you can use for parents to sign and students to sign. And just a reminder, if you're going to use any of the forms that require a signature before you hand your babies out, make sure you send those out at least 2 weeks ahead of time so that you get them back in time. Another thing that we think is very helpful when you're programming the babies is to use a sign-up sheet with your students and have a few columns on it. It can be student name. If you can decide if you want them to pick the gender or not, so boy or girl can be a column. If you want to allow them to name the baby, you could have a naming column, and then a column for any potential conflicts they might have during the simulation time frame, so that you know that ahead of time, because when you are setting up the simulation and programming it, you could program in a quiet time during any conflicts that they might have. And here's another good one. Get some positive press for your program. What you're doing is important, and your community will really support you in what you're doing. So invite things like a newspaper, radio, anybody to come in, interview your students, take pictures if possible to see what you're doing, because the community does see these babies out in public, in stores, restaurants, and things like that, when students have them home on a weekend for a simulation. So a lot of them are familiar with it, and we think that it's great. Also use social media. Students do share very often on social media when they're having the RealCare Baby simulation experience, but you go ahead and share as well. Share some of your best practices with other teachers. Encourage your students to share what they're doing with other students. Again, it gets the word out about the great things you're doing in your program. Another thing you can do to make your program more interesting is invite community members in to be guest speakers. You could have law enforcement, police and law enforcement make really very interesting speakers on things like shaken baby, child abuse, and the legal consequences of mishandling a child. You could have any medical professional in that deal with infants on the job, such as nurses, pediatricians, even midwives, things like that. That can talk about medical consequences and conditions with infants and so forth, fetal alcohol, how drugs impact unborn babies and so forth. Social workers also make very great speakers because they can talk about how they work with infants on the job. Foster care, what does it take? What qualifications do you need to foster an infant and so forth? And of course, childcare professionals make really good speakers if you're doing some career exploration in childcare. And you could have childcare teachers in, or you could even have a center director in for different points of view on working with infants in a childcare setting. And then the last thing that we would like to mention today is take advantage of your RealCare curricula. As a baby customer, you have access to 4 free curricula that have hundreds of pages of lesson plans, assessments, slide presentations, activities, handouts, ready to go. And don't reinvent the wheel. So the 3 that I'd really like to point you to today, these are all high school level. Basic infant care is the one that you want to use if you have a career focus on childcare. It actively uses RealCare Baby in class to learn many childcare skills, and of course does culminate at the end with them taking the infant home, but they're acting independently as a childcare worker, taking care of an infant in that simulation. We have healthy choices, relationships, sexuality, and family planning. And this is kind of a pregnancy prevention and a sex ed curriculum, if you will, for high school students. And it talks about relationships, dating, peer pressure, how to make good sexual decisions, refusal skills. Then it goes all through pregnancy, labor, delivery, and then the consequences of becoming a teen parent. So very, very impactful. That's the focus area program. And the simulation there is you are living the life of a teen parent. And then the third one is parenting. And this is one that covers topics from infant through age 3. And there's things like early literacy development, brain development, recreation and play, attachment, how to nurture your child, the cost of daycare. But then the simulation for parenting is you are the parent of an infant. So those are a few of my best practices that I wanted to share with you today, all about RealCare Baby.
Awesome. So that was Denise Dubois, our Realityworks product manager. Okay, well, that was really fun sharing information from all of our different panelists and presenters. And boy, now that we've done so, what do you do now? This is a lot of information we just threw at you. Well, there are a few recommended resources that we highly suggest exploring as a way to get started and learn more, and especially dive into some of the topics that you heard our panelists cover today. And I'm just going to actually hop out to our website and show you how to access some of these preferred resources. The first resource that I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of is our RealCare Baby User Center. So I'm going to pull up our website here, and our RealCare Baby User Center is a center that landing page that we created just within the last year as really a hub for everything RealCare Baby. You can access it if you hop onto the RealCare Baby product page. We link to it within our FAQ section. If you click this link, RealCare Baby User Center, here you will find basically everything that you need to run your program. Those printable checklists and permission forms that so many of our panelists referenced today already. You can find access to the curriculum if you perhaps previously had the curriculum and maybe lost it, or can't remember your access link or anything, you can find that here. You can get links to any program checklists. We have some awesome deployment checklists, just printable PDFs that we recommend using when you're deploying baby, when you're preparing to store baby for the summer, when you come back to school from summer break and you're preparing to run your program in the fall. So this is the place where you can find all of that, plus our product support access link. So any and all questions regarding FAQs, participant care facts, information on the app, this is really like intended to be your one-stop shop. So this is an awesome resource that we highly recommend everyone check out. Another resource that I wanted to review with everyone is our RealCare Baby implementation page. So this is a page that we created that's more of a general getting started. So this is great for people with baby, but also if there's any of you on the webinar today who don't have RealCare Baby yet, but maybe you're thinking about it, if you hop onto our website under products, click on infant simulators, and then there is this button right at the top, RealCare Baby program and implementation. This is where you'll find actually that RealCare Baby means video, where Ashley Edmond makes a cameo, as well as other educators, plus all sorts of other great resources like a white paper on how educators are using RealCare Baby. We offer an implementation guide, which is a great starting point that addresses some of those basic questions like how do you determine how many babies you need? What do you need to get started? Plus a whole bunch of other resources on not only the products that we offer, like pathway packages and scenario cards, but also just additional resources like blogs on ways to use Baby, how to ensure a successful deployment. We even offer an infographic on activities and resources for baby users. The third resource that I just wanted to review is our on-demand webinars. So obviously you all are attending a webinar today. We keep recordings of these webinars accessible on our website. So if you hover over resources, click webinars, and then of course you'll see all of the upcoming webinars, including today's presentation. If you scroll down just a titch and click on Family and Consumer Sciences, this is where you'll find all of our on-demand webinars that you can watch anytime for free. And if you scroll down, there's a plethora of great resources specifically for RealCare Baby. Whoops, here we go. Using RealCare Baby remotely, using RealCare Baby in COVID times, featuring some of those tips and tricks from Trudy and others we spoke to during the pandemic, but also getting your school's buy-in for RealCare Baby, how to get baby ready for fall or pack it up for the summer, etc. So these are all some awesome resources that I highly recommend that everyone take a moment to explore. We'll also include links in those follow-up emails that everyone will receive today. That'll link to the user center, the implementation page, and some of those other assets I just reviewed. So if you're going to do one thing following today's webinar, take a peek at one of those resources and just poke around a little bit. And of course, contact us if you have any questions. And actually with that, oh, I almost forgot one more fun, new, exciting thing I did want to share today, just briefly. We did debut and we're very excited to now be able to offer a single storage case for RealCare Baby. This is new this year. This is a brand new case that's designed to just offer an easier way to keep individual babies and supplies stored. So this is designed to hold just a single baby, plus all of the supplies for that baby, the bottle, diaper, ID, and clothing, and just keep it organized and charged and safe and sound in your classroom. They do stack with each other, so you can easily just pile them into like a zone in your classroom or a closet neatly and tidily and not worry about anything falling over. And they do include a label on the outside for those of you who label your babies with names or, you know, baby A, baby B, you can easily include that on the outside of your case. As well, we did include a quick access link on the cover. So that's an awesome resource for any of you who've been using Baby over the years. You know how easy it is to, you know, you get a new classroom, you move, you and switch your program, and all of a sudden you need a quick access to like your curriculum and product support. So that information is now included on the cover of these cases. So if you want to learn more, we encourage you to hop on our website and check it out. You can use the URL on your screen and learn more. And now with that, we will open it up to any questions. Ashley and Cheryl and Trudy were not able to attend this webinar live today. However, if you have any questions specific to their program or any of the interesting facts that they shared, we are happy to convey those questions to them and follow up with those individual attendees if they want to learn more specifically about those educators. Otherwise, we are happy to answer any questions anyone has.